Welcome to another edition of Talking Models. I have a great treat for you today. We're digging back into the models that are no longer available and are just milestones in the hobby, in my opinion. Today we're going to take a look at Swede Creations 7th Seal. It is sculpted by Staffan Linder, and he did an amazing job on this kit. Let's talk a little bit about it. If you've never seen the movie, it's a very interesting movie. It's set in the days of old with the knights, and basically the plague is ravaging. And this knight stumbles upon death on the beach, and he challenges him to a game of chess. If the knight wins, he lives. If he loses, he gone. So it's a really great movie. To me, it's one of the it's just a very important part in film history. If you get a chance to watch it, give it a shot. And I think you will really end up going away with a good story and just some great memorable scenes. So with this kit, you see it comes, it's a smaller skit, probably a 1/8 scale. And it basically comes with Death, the Knight, chessboard with the pieces. And they're basically sitting on the beach. So you have sand, you have rocks that go around the base, as you can see. A pretty simple base, but very effective. Now on mine, I chose to use the American lettering of the 7th seal in the front. On the other side of that sign is the 7th seal in Swedish. So you can go either way. For a while I had it with the Swedish name going and displaying from the outside, and a lot of people didn't understand. I would just tell them the 7th seal. Then I would have to go into a long discussion about what is the 7th seal. I know people nowadays, right? So, as you can see, it's beautifully sculpted. I actually bought this kit direct from Amazing Figure Modeler. And I believe, forgive me for a moment, I'm going to take a peek here. This one is signed, by the way, and it was 2010. He did a limited release of these, and they were available through Amazing Figure Modeler through Cindy Fisher. I was lucky enough to make the list, and I, without hesitation, grabbed this thing. So, a little bit about it. Again, it's been a while since I painted this. Memory's not what it used to be. Basically, you can just see the different colors of it. They did a really good job with the face on each of these guys. As you can see, the knight, of course, has his sword. He's in his mesh clothing. He has the cross on his chest. There's a lot of detail in this. Just so much. I mean, it's a dry brushing dream. If you like to dry brush, you're going to love this. The chessboard, very detailed with the chess pieces, as you can see. From what I remember, it was came in pieces. You had to put the two halves of the kit together, and then the chess piece, of course, is on its own. You just basically glue it to the rock, and it makes just a beautiful display. You know, it's something different. You know, you look around our collections, you know, a lot of us get into the big headline from Earthbound. You have the wall hangers from George, the 360 heads from George, 1/6 scales, 1/4 scale, basically the smaller bust. So many choices out there today. And then you put this in the midst of them. You know, and this is one that catches a lot of people's eye. You know, it's one I'm proud of. Mainly I'm proud to own it. You know, just to have it in my collection. And if you ever get a chance to pick one of these up, grab them. I'm hoping that Staffan decides to re-release it one day for those people out there still looking for it. Wink, wink, hint, hint. And I'm sure it would do well today for those collectors that missed it. But basically, you can see it's pretty straightforward. For Death, we'll refer to him as Death. Basically, black. And looks like I used a lot of grays and just basically dry brushed all sorts of different grays on the highlights of his cloak. His gloves, looks like more dry brushing in there. And I might even have kind of maybe used trans black. Again, this was a few years ago. Before I really used my airbrush a lot, I did use it, but I was still getting used to it. So for me, I believe I've grown in that area. And that's the beauty of this hobby, as we grow. You know, it's so nice to be able to grow and just become teachable through it all and to get new skills. For his face, it's just, I wanted to give him a greenish, like a death look, but yet pale. So as you can see, I think I came up and I caught that. Again, a lot of the things on this back then was heavy, heavy pastels. You can see reds under his eyes. There's some reds in his cheekbone area. Some black for his lips. He is dead after all. For the eyes, you know, came in and just did some intricate work on that. There's some browns and black. And of course the color itself looks like, to me, I might have used some sort of yellowish. Maybe it was a, you know, like a yellow tan or something mixed with something else. I probably mixed it with some pale flesh. And there might even have been some green in there, like a real light drop or two of like Frankenflesh from the Freak Flex line, just to give it that hue, that different look. And of course his top of his cloak, same thing, near black, some grays, charcoals in that. Same with a little bit of the shirt area that you see on him. And it just kind of blends together. I just wanted my purpose for this was to keep his cloak and his, the top of the cloak, the hood if you will, keyed down. And I wanted the accent to be his face. You know, it's like doing a something in black and white, you know, where you have something so subtle and then you get a little brighter with the grays, you know, and then maybe contrast another part of the kit in color. You know, it's just something about it just kind of looks cool. And that's what I was trying to do with this, and I hope that I did that. Now for the knight himself, pretty straightforward. Gave him basically the red cloak. I'm sure it was over black, and then just that was airbrushed, and then of course you take back a little bit brighter red, and then you come in with your dry brushing, hit all the highlighted areas, and then you know, back and forth with your shading until you get that look that you're looking for. I'll kind of spin them around a little bit so you can see the different shading in this area, and of course on the highlight parts of his cloak at the top. For his face, basically for him, I wanted to go with a lighter tone, and I believe I did that with him. That was, I'm sure, just straight up pale flesh, and then some dry brushing, probably in some areas just like little highlights real lightly with a little bit lighter brush, lighter color. You know, take your flesh tone color, lighten it up a little bit, you know, add some white to it, not a lot, just give it a different tone. Then of course the rest of the head was done with pastels, shadings of browns, shadings of a little bit of a black. It looks like I may have added some black to the brown to sink in his cheekbones area. Lips were straight up red, and then some red under his eyes to just have a little bit of a contrast difference. For his hair, I went with like a blondish look, as you can see here. Was basically just started with a real light, well, like a middle brown color, if you will, maybe even like a raw sienna or like a raw umber, and then some straight up yellow, and just lightly start hitting the highlights with a dry brush, and it kind of gives you that blonde look. You know, to me, blonde is such a hard color to do. You know, and a lot of times straight up yellow doesn't work. You have to, you know, wash it down with some browns, and it's a process. Thank goodness this was a smaller area, and I think I did okay with it. Now if it was like a full head, 1/1 scale, wall hanger, big head, something like that, that would probably challenge me. But I think that's one of the fun things about modeling, is it challenges us. You know, with each piece brings new challenges, new opportunities to grow as a modeler, and also to take our painting to the next level. That's something I see every day on the hobby boards and Facebook, is just these modelists, I call artists, just raising the bar. You know, think of the Dave Fishers, the John Elreds, the Saul Alvarez. You know, the list just continues to go on. You know, they just keep raising the bar and doing new things, and it's like, man, how do you do that? You know, but then you sit down with your airbrush and your paints, and before you know it, you try something new and it works. Isn't that cool? So let's try some more, try to grow, get pieces that challenge you. For the longest time, I would always stay away from those things. I had kits in my collection that I would not touch because I was scared to death of them. Can you relate? You may have some in your stash right now that you just don't think you're good enough and you don't know what to do, so it's nicer to just say, hey, I got that one in my collection, than to say, yeah, I built that one and painted that one, and you know, this is what I did, or you know, this is what I learned. You know, I think a couple that are behind me now, the Man of a Thousand Faces, you know, some of the different kits that I have, and you'll be seeing over the next few months of my collection that I would have never done before. You know, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna grow, and that's what I did. So with this piece, like I say, it just is a nice small action-packed scene. His meshing, of course, black, and you just start dry brushing silver, and then of course washing down with some black, just kind of toning back down. And his shirt looks like it was done with a probably the Nair black. And then the cross on his chest most likely was airbrushed with a light gray. You know, you just make it a little bit more, get in there closer with the airbrush. And it just gives it a nice contrast. You know, just a nice difference. So that is the 7th seal from Swede Creations. A blast from the past. And also a kit that I'm just proud to own. It's actually one of my favorite kits in my collection. A small, compact, but big impact. You know, it's just a beautiful kit. Bravo, Staffan. So, that's it for today's edition of Talking Models. And I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and catch the new videos as I put them out. I will, you know, post updates on the page, a couple of the modeling pages on Facebook, my art page on Facebook, just to kind of keep you aware of what's going on and let you know what's coming up, and maybe something for you to just enjoy. I'm not saying you're going to learn nothing. I'm just an average painter. You know, I'm just someone that loves the hobby. But it's an opportunity for maybe new people in the hobby, or maybe some of you veterans that haven't seen the kit or have heard of the kit but not seen one. Google's an amazing thing. You can Google things, and hopefully someone took the time to post a picture. So that's really the purpose of these videos, is to show you my collection and kits that I've built and painted over the years, and just kind of a tour of the hobby for me, through my eyes, through my kits, and an opportunity for to see some pieces you may not have seen before. So thanks again for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I would love to add you to the Talking Models with Troy Nayer channel, and just hear your input, hear your stories. Maybe a kit that we're going to do will really speak to you and just bring back some fond memories. And if it does, you know, let's post something. You know, it's a hobby. It's fun. Let's have fun. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Build the models. Don't just store them up. And have a great day, and God bless.